guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hello, my name is Melissa and we talk about all things plants. Based on the title that you already saw, we are going to be doing something that I kind of put together I think it was like a month, maybe 2 months ago. So if you follow me over on my Instagram, if you don't, I'll put the link in the description. Go follow me because I do engaging videos with my viewers up there. What I did was I posted three different questions in my stories and I got you guys to answer them. I'm not gonna disclose any names or anything. This is strictly confidential, but basically I asked what your plant embarrassments were, your plant fails were, and your plant struggles were. I feel like a lot of people in the plant community just don't talk about their struggles or their fails or their embarrassments. So I thought it would be fun to go over them, maybe give you some helpful hints, and then at the end of this video I'm going to give you a couple of my struggles, fails, and embarrassments. So first we're gonna do the plant struggles. So one of the ones was that this person had she thought that she had over fertilized her pothos because it had 30 black leaves on the tips. So what I say is I do have a recommendation for a book. I'll put that book link in the description. It's from Amazon. I'm sure you can buy it anywhere. And it's a great book that has so many different things. You can look up pothos and it'll tell you everything about it. But with my knowledge, I feel like it's not over fertilization. I think it's likely maybe overwatering. That's a tendency with pothos, overwatering and underwatering. Especially underwatering, they will droop and they will just be completely dramatic for you. So definitely make sure you're not doing that before you dive into something else. It could be fertilization, but you just wanted to start with one piece and then check the things off. The next one is keeping up with pest control. Yeah, that is definitely a bugger, especially when you notice pests on multiple plants or one plant and you have a bunch of plants surrounding it or touching it, because then you have to look at all of those plants. If one of these plants got thrips, I would have to look through every single one, and it's time consuming, it sucks for your mental health. Especially if it's more expensive plants or plants that you really love, you have to take an extra step into what am I supposed to do now? So it can be definitely hard to keep up with the pest control, especially when maybe mental health or just you're not feeling it. You're not feeling it. There are times where I have had pest control and I just see the plant and sometimes I just neglect it until it actually dies. The next one was keeping an orchid alive. So I don't have any orchids. I've never had an orchid. I really don't know very much about orchids, so I don't have too much to say about this. I guess my best recommendation would be that book, or just asking other, a lot of plant people over on the Instagram who do deal with or have orchids. And just ask people, make friends in the plant communities, and I think you'll be okay. Thrips. Yeah, thrips suck. But maybe some tips for keeping them under control. Thrips are little white flies. They're tiny, 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 and they like to suck the color out of plants. So green plants will suck the color out of it. So if you notice that on any of your plants, you could have thrips. And they're just kind of gross, to be quite honest. But there are different insecticides and pest controls that you can purchase out there. There are tons of videos on the web about the thrips, and definitely just quarantine your plant, do your research, and get rid of those guys, because it is possible. If the infestation is absolutely gross and horrible, then sometimes it's just better off to get rid of the plant altogether, and that's okay. The next one is leaf dying off in the winter. So I'm not 100% sure where this this question what it kind of means, because leaves will always die, just like your hair falls out, just like your fingernails grow and you cut them. it's just kind of like a way of life sometimes. In wintertime, it can be a little bit more trickier to take care of your plants, but if you have a leaf that's dying off closer to the bottom, like underneath the plant or near the soil, just say thank you to your plant and get rid of the leaf. It's just done its life. It's done. It'll grow more leaves. But if it's leaves dying off, like for like, I would need more information about this, I guess. But if it's just like a regular leaf or just like leaves, it's not happening all the time, don't worry about it because it's gonna happen. The next one is overwater. That's all it says. So overwater, I mean, the best thing that I could say to you if you struggle with overwatering or underwatering is a moisture meter. Super affordable thing to get. You just stick it into the soil and it'll tell you if it's too wet or too dry. There are different types out there on the market, but I think it's a really great gift, anything to have as a plant parent. Even if you're like more advanced plant parent, it's still something to have around, especially if you bring in a new species into your life that you're like dabbling into and you just don't know how to monitor it properly. I highly suggest the moisture meter. And the last one in this category was mental health waves. So this I'm going to be making a whole entire video about, but it is really hard to deal with your plants when you're struggling with your own like mental health, whatever that may be. Especially in the winter time, a lot of people get a little bit more depressed or sad in the winter time. So I think my biggest advice for that is to take a step back. Just take a step back, stop posting. If you're a plant person who posts on the Instagram or the YouTube, just stop doing that. Take time for yourself and just get back into the right mindset. You don't want to be making videos, you don't want to be posting or talking to people in a bad mindset. So I think another thing is like, if you're going to neglect your plants because of your mental health, you know, your mental health sometimes is a lot like better for you. So do that. Don't worry if your plants start to deteriorate, but if you do notice it and you need help, ask for help, because there's nothing wrong with asking for help. Ask a friend to come on over, ask your spouse or whoever it may be to come on over and help you out with maybe watering all your plants or whatever you have to do, but work on yourself because that's the most important, and then plants. So the next one we're going to talk about are the plant fails. Okay, this one is losing track and overwatering, or forgetting and severely underwatering. So definitely been there, done that. Everyone has. So definitely go and buy that moisture meter, because I think that'll be your best friend in situations like this. Again, I'll link it down in the description. And yeah, the moisture meter, especially if you're constantly trying to figure out the overwatering and the underwatering thing, until you really get it down pat and figure it out, and moisture or soil mixtures and all that, just buy a damn moisture meter. I've killed 2 cactuses somehow. Yeah, cactuses and succulents I find are a very popular plant that a lot of people will recommend to beginner plant parents, and I think that it's not. Cactuses and succulents are hard. They need a lot of sun, and they like to dry out. They like shitty soil. I think they're not beginner plants, and it's okay if you killed your cactuses, because I've killed many just by overwatering it. I don't think that they're too dramatic. They're pretty easy to care for, in the sense that like if you have a routine, you're pretty much good to go, but like it's hard to get there sometimes. So don't just get on with it. They're also pretty cheap almost everywhere, so go buy some more. Propagations. Propagating, I usually propagate in water. I've been dabbling in sphagnum moss, but if you are just like a sphagnum moss person or a water person or a perlite person, I suggest doing some research and trying a different type of propagation method, because sometimes one is better than the other. Obviously, I've noticed that sphagnum moss is easier to transfer back into soil. Water, the roots look really nice in a vase of water, but if you're struggling with propagations, I think that you should just try a different substrate. Ivy plants hate me. Yep, they hate me too, so let's just move on. peperomia and string of anything. So I don't really have much to say about the string of pearls or like the beans or anything because I struggle with those as well. I don't know too much about them because yeah, I struggle and I don't have any. But peperomia, I can give you a couple things. Indirect light, I have mine sitting in a west bathroom. The humidity they don't really care for, but like don't give them like direct light and don't water them. Just like kind of neglect them. Like obviously water them, but like don't water them too much. I literally water mine like a little tiny, like a little splash like every once a week, and they seem to be happy. And sometimes even if you let the water or the soil completely dry out for a couple of weeks, they will be fine. I think they'll be a little bit more happier if you do that. I used to hate peperomias because I couldn't figure it out, and then I just started neglecting them, and now they love me. They hate me, they love me. And the last one is opening my bedroom window at nighttime and killing 3 of my alocasias. I don't recommend doing this, especially if you live in a cold climate like I do. Keep those darn plants away from the windows and any drafts as much as you can or as fast as you can because you don't want to be dealing with dead plants. So just like don't do that, I guess. So moving on to the embarrassments. Telling people how many plants I have, do not be embarrassed about that. I love it going to people coming to my house and be like, hey, look at all my 120 plants. I absolutely love it. Just don't be ashamed of it. Don't. Not knowing how to water air plants properly. I think I did a video on this. If I did, I will link it down in the description. Watering air plants is one of those more trickier things, but it's different. You basically just take the air plant and you put it in a bowl of water for like 30 minutes. Maybe like once a week, once every 10 days, and that's it. That's all you gotta do. Dropped an orchid 3 times. Again with the orchids. Stop dropping your plants. I'm just kidding. I've dropped plants. I've kicked over plants. Ugh, it's just, the cycle keeps going. So yeah, just be more careful, or who cares? Just clean it up and move on with your life. So now I'm gonna talk about some of mine. So one of my embarrassments is David telling me to water. David likes to walk, I don't know if he does it intentionally, but he likes to walk around my house and say, this plant needs watering, Melissa. And then I'm like, ugh, I haven't watered in like a week. I already know I have to water. And then I just feel embarrassed because I'm like, ugh, I'm such a bad like plant parent, but I know I'm not. But it's definitely an embarrassment for me. A fail, I have 2. Drowned Hoya in Leca. Okay, I drowned Hoya in Leca. They were Hoya cuttings, and I like filled up the, like I just drowned them. I filled up the little container way too much. I know nothing about Leca really, and yeah, that didn't go very well for me. And I repotted too quickly. I've done this many times, bringing my plant home, getting excited and putting it into a new pot. Yeah, definitely something that I don't do and I don't recommend. And then a struggle is the winter watering. It's hard to figure it out because some plants will keep the moisture into the soil and then you don't have to water them often. A lot of people say you don't have to water them as much as the summertime because the heat and everything is not drying them out, which is correct, but sometimes that's incorrect for me because my house is decently warm. So it is kind of a tricky thing to get to try to figure out. Alright guys, I hope this video wasn't too long. If you made it this far, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. Leave a plant emoji in the comment section down below so I know that you made it this far. And if you're new here, hey, let me know some of your plant struggles, fails, and embarrassments. And I'll see you guys in the next video. XOXO MM. Bye!